Hey everyone, welcome to I Am Reality Now, where you're the star and story of your reality. I am Mitch.
And I'm Stephania.
And today we have a great episode. It's I Am Expansion, I Am Expanding. Really fun topic where love, being your true identity, is always expanding, right, Steph?
Yeah, it's a great topic because it's whatever you put your attention on that seamlessly expands, flourishes, grows, and essentially heals. Like it always gets better and better. And it's wherever you're focusing on, really, whether internally or physically.
Yeah, yeah, it truly is the coin of heaven. We're investing in ourselves, and investment is expansion. And it's selfish because when you invest in yourself, it's only you that's expanding. So there's no shame or condemnation here whatsoever because expansion is a selfish practice. You're investing in yourself. It's the greatest love story ever told. If you're writing a love story, you're going to be telling it like there is no other story. Love thrives on love. That's what love does, which we've said in many of this channel. And it's an expander. And wherever you focus your attention is going to expand. And that's why love is the only reality. Anything else is not the truth. And you're expanding something that's not true. And then you're going to be in delusion and convoluted reality. And then theater plays out. And this is all to convince you and to show you it's not really true. And that's why love is the only reality. And giving the meaning you prefer is all there is. And you're investing in yourself. You're focusing on that. You're thriving. You're not doing it to get something. You're in bliss. I mean, you're investing in more bliss. It's an
Yeah.
infinite supply of bliss. And that's why it's expansion.
Yeah, guys, it's so simple. And that's why I love meditation, to be honest. Meditation, I think, was one of the biggest tools for me that taught me how to focus, not to have my attention being pulled to whatever dramatization was going on in the world, right? Or memories, even. So when you're able to sit in silence, and it's a practice, right? You sit in silence, you focus on something else. Now you're in control of the wheel, right? No matter what's happening in your life, you're focusing on what you want to expand. And I was telling Mitch that it's something as simple as going to the supermarket, right? And then seeing the items you like more and more on sale. And that's where your focus is. And that's what keeps happening over and over again. Let's say you're used to driving on the road to go see your family members or your friends. And more each time, you see more beauty on the way there. You see more flowers, you see fixed roads. This literally happens to me where I see sometimes potholes and I know people that complain heavily about potholes, and I'll just see it fixed. Literally, I'll be like, you know what? This is actually a perfect road. I see it, I feel it, whatever method works for you, because you can even just like speak it into existence. And guess what, guys? Like the roads get fixed really fast for me because I'm putting my awareness on the healing of it, right? I'm propagating what I prefer.
100%. And what you're doing is you're building faith. Every time that you walk by faith and not by sight, you're expanding. It's like a muscle, right? So muscles, they expand. The more you work on them, they expand. They get built up. Like what's doing that? Like what's causing a muscle to expand? It's the constant
Yeah.
exercising of the muscle. So you're giving faith more, you're walking by faith more than by sight. So you're building up that consciousness of yourself because your assumptions is your reality. So the more you're assuming what you prefer, the more that gets built up like a muscle. So you're expanding. So everything's expansion. Whatever you give your attention and energy, you're giving wherever you place your attention is where you place your energy. Energy is expansive. So the more you give it, you feed it like a magnifying glass, you're focusing more and more on that, and it's a state of being. So your focus and your consciousness is all consuming in that identity. A state of being is an identity. So you become it. You entertain it, you believe it, you become it.
Yeah.
It becomes your reality because you start to believe that because you're focusing on it more and that it's expanding. It's like an actor on stage. The more they rehearse their part, the more they believe that role. How does that happen? Like, why does an actor believe that they are that role? Because they're constantly focusing on. Do you know it gets to a point where an actor says, I'm not getting out of this role. When you talk to me, you're talking to me as this person. They're
Yeah.
serious.
I think it's called method
Yeah,
acting.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and it's knowing that it's just in the consistent repetition of everything, guys. Like the scenes are always getting enhanced around you because you are a walking miracle, really. So, like, when you're walking around, you see things better. And also, destruction is also creating something, right? So, are you creating beauty and more prosperity, more abundance, more comfort, or are you creating destructive things? And you really have the power to believe on what you prefer based on your attention and where you're attending your awareness, and it's so cool because I tell Mitch, like, it happens to me every day, like even walking in the hallway, seeing my neighbors. If I see somebody with an injury, I see them healthy. If I see them upset, I see them happy. Or if maybe I thought they were rude to me, which barely ever happens now, but if I have a slight feeling of that, I see people being kind to me. And why? Because I'm purifying over and over. These scenes are just being reflected from what I believe of myself and others, right? So I was also sharing with Mitch, like, for example, if you have an accident, let's say you cut yourself or you burn yourself by mistake, you see it healed. No matter what anybody else is telling you around you, like, oh no, like I was telling him a story that everybody was telling me that I was gonna get a scar, and I was like, no. And you have to really have the courage to stand up to yourself. And if you have to say it to other people, sometimes it could be a little bit jarring for other minds that, but they're like, "What are you saying? Like, I have evidence to prove that these things don't get cured or, that there's gonna be a scar based on the whatever that is that happened to you." But you get to stand up for yourself and be yourself and choose for yourself, like, for nobody else. Like, be selfish enough to be like, "No, this is my reality, and in my reality, everything heals and everything's prosperous and it comes back to me tenfold." And like, you're doing it to yourself for yourself, right? Like, you don't have to really force these beliefs onto anybody else. And then the most awesome thing is that you become the evidence for them, right? They're like, "Oh, you're disrupting their own patterns of their own creative nonsense," right? So then they're like, "Oh, I guess, yeah, I guess the skin never scars," right?
Mhm.
Because whatever.
Yeah, you're expanding the world through yourself. You're expanding the world through you because we are I am. So there's
Mhm.
8 plus billion people in the world. So we see everyone. When we talk about everyone or anything, we talk this way, right? We say everyone is this way. Well, why is there? Do you know that's expansion right there? You've literally created 8 billion people in an expansion modality by saying everyone, everything. And we do this
Mhm.
all the time. Like, why is everything this way? Why is everyone this way? Why never? Why always? That's expansion. That's expansion really on a sheer high scale that you don't even realize you're doing. You're doing expansion all the time. The moment that you say everyone, everything, and when you see somebody sick, your expansion because you see them as yourself and you remember them being healthy. So you've literally
Yeah.
expanded them from being not healthy to healthy because that's what love does. We don't want to see them this way and we pray for them, but you're only doing that for yourself.
Yeah.
You're not waiting for them to perform for you and show you, hey, I'm healthy. Okay, now I'm healthy now. You see them, you know the tone of their voice. You hear them say, I'm healthy now. And that's you're giving it to yourself, which is giving it to them. So you're I am, you're being as I am, and that's expansion because
Yeah.
you're giving, receiving your infinite supply. It's constant and it never turns off. So you know what? The fact that your consciousness never turns off means it's expanding. It doesn't turn off. You're always on. You always have an opportunity to shine that light. Even when you're waiting, you're expanding. So you're now
Yeah.
embodying the state of waiting. So now waiting starts to expand. So every moment is a moment for you to expand because that's what you do. And then when you realize that, like, oh my gosh, I'm wasting an opportunity. Well, you know that the spotlight is always on you. It's always on you saying,
Yeah.
show me what your state of being you're in. And you realize that, and you realize, wow, I feel much better now. I have free will. I'm not surrendering my free will anymore. These kind of thinkings is realizing that you're an expansion being, expanded being.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And guys, like, you are the potter. You're molding everything, and it's just getting on that seat of creation, right? And it's looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing what you prefer to be because you're giving the reflection like shape. You really are. So you're it's not that serious where people are like, "Oh, I can't believe this happened," or like, "I can't believe things are this." No, like, okay, let's say you're painting art, right? Like you have a frame and you draw a circle. The first circle came out a little bit like swirly, it wasn't a real circle. You just do it again. You're like, "Okay, let me get another piece of paper and draw another circle. Okay, maybe this one is a little different," but now you start getting creative ideas, and now you're, like, swirling, now you wanna draw a triangle. And what I'm saying is that, like, don't get stuck in one limited viewpoint where there's infinite scenes and continuation of life, right? And your awareness is infinite. So do not identify yourself with an old creation. There's no identification needed. You're always molding yourself. So it doesn't matter what you did yesterday, date who you dated, or like what you studied. You can time and time again be like, okay, so how can I make this frame more comfortable, more loving, more joyous, more prosperous for myself? And in that, it starts all coming together, it's really cool, but it's kinda like saying like, "Oh my god, I baked lasagna once and it was terrible. I'm gonna give up on baking. I don't know how to bake. I'm just not gonna eat forever and ever." Like, come on now, like, you could just do it again. Do it again, and then eventually it's gonna be so easy for you. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not here to play small. We're here to play big, and our imagination allows us to have infinite points of view, infinite perspectives. There is no one perspective, and our ability to go in and see things differently is expansion. It's a lot of fun. You got to realize it's quite a bit of fun when you realize that you're an expansive being, because when you tap into who you really are as love, you start to see things from much more different perspectives, because it's infinite supply, it's infinite fulfillment, it's infinite bliss to look at things as you prefer. And that's very expansive. You really go all into when you realize that your identity is expansion and you
Um,
understand that your identity is expansion. It allows you far more possibilities, because then you get the ideas and you realize I'm not limited. I can do things differently. I can feel better about, helping people, seeing people not sick, seeing people thriving, seeing your loved ones thriving, seeing yourself thriving. It really is an expansion. When you realize what your true identity is, you start to realize that, that you're love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. And then that is an expansive thing in and of itself.
yeah. It's beautiful. And it's really wonderful, and it takes away that fear, right? Like the fear, the shame, the blame, the condemnation, and sometimes it comes from back in your dreams. I have dreams where like they try to shake me up and I wake up and my first thought is like, "Oh, I'm so happy that was a dream." And I woke up, look how perfect it is here, right? And I've heard conversations with people that they panic over a nightmare and they keep talking about the nightmare and they keep giving it life in the present moment. And I'm like, why are we doing this? Like it's already gone. And there's just so many ways, the guys, that you can keep deciding over and over and over what you prefer. And I want to speak a little bit on like how many categories there are on your life because there's so many different things you can expand. So I think sometimes the psyche and the mind gets stuck in like a closed loop, let's say relationships, right? Romantic relationships are notorious sometimes to get into like a ping pong of a blaming game, right? I can't believe he or she is doing this to me. And then like you're wasting so much awesome potential of creativity. Like your creative energy can be used to enhance so many things in your life, but then all of a sudden the brain gets stuck in this mini game basically of like relationships, he said, she said, blaming, ego stuff, which is essentially just you, right? So then it's like, okay, if you find yourself in that situation, get out of it and go to another category in your life. Okay, well, there's so much peace and love with my family members or my friendships or my career, right? So kind of like redirect your attention to create beautiful things where you it's not that convoluted at the moment and you're going to see that that closed loop gets more air now. So now you're bringing more flow into your life, you're going to feel better and everything enhances as you just keep allowing more beauty into your life.
Yeah, waiting is not creating. We are dreamers. And what happens is when we get into this mistaken identity, essentially, we start to wait and we wait for the performance. So in a relationship, we want the other person to perform and
Mhm.
say, tell me, I want to hear what I want to hear. And there's no expansion for that. So in the times that you're not with your partner, dream, because that's your creative currency right there. You don't need to, okay, well, we did this in the relationship. Now I'm waiting for this to pay off. So let's see what they do next. And now they're going to perform like an
Exactly.
actor on stage. And there's no expansion with that whatsoever. Then you've limited yourself. You surrendered your free will, your ability to expand. And now we're dreamers. Like I dream that they're getting flowers ready for me. I dream that they realize they can't stop thinking about me.
Yeah.
See, that's serving you. Expansion is selfish. It is a selfishness because that's what expansion is. This is the greatest love story. This is the greatest love story ever told. That is expansion. You thrive on hearing yourself. You being your own best friend is an
Yeah.
expansion. Championing yourself is an expansion. It's a never. You're always with yourself, always. So you're always expanding yourself. You have an investment opportunity every moment to champion yourself. That is expansion. You're always like a muscle. You're always at the gym, right? You're always at
Yeah.
the gym with yourself. So you're always expanding this imagination in different ways and different perspectives and dreaming. It's a nonstop it's a nonstop expansion, nonstop. It doesn't stop. You
Yeah.
can't stop it. And I've said this before, you can't stop it even if you want to stop it, you can't because
Yeah.
the thinking never stops. The opportunity to expand never stops. It's when you have mistaken identity that the expansion starts to drop, and then you don't feel like yourself. You're feeling like I don't feel good. This is not who I am because you're not being as I am. That's why, and that's why expansion
Yeah.
being as I am. And the thing is, when you realize when you do this more and more, and you're liberated, and the truth will set you free. You start to realize that you're liberated, and you feel more expansive. You entertain things more and more. You thrive on it. You enjoy it, and you realize the true essence of who you are more and more so each day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really like that, guys. So all of this is accessible to you right now. We're just here to remind you, we are reflections of you, reminding you how powerful you are. And it's like honestly one of my greatest honors. I love this. And I hope you do too. And leave us comments letting us know what you're going through. And if you need more clarity, give us your success stories, how like this makes sense to you. And like we just love building this community right now. And if you want to be part in any way, send us an email. And yeah. Anything else, Mitch?
Yeah, no, this is really a lot of fun, this episode, really, really knowing who you are. I'll draw this out by saying that I'm expansion, and it is a selfishness in your own autobiography of the greatest love story ever told. And on that note, you're going to find that this is a journey in love. And also on that note, thank you for joining this episode. I am Mitch.
And I'm Stephania.
Bye.
We love you guys. Bye. Sky's the limit.